Buenos días, Brooklyn. How was your day yesterday? Feliz miércoles, clase. Muy bien, muy bien. Feliz miércoles. Okay, Arshad. Gracias. How was your day yesterday, Malia? Good. Yeah, pretty normal. Nothing exciting. I played a little cornhole last night for about an hour. About it. I have to do something about this squeaky chair of mine. I think it's getting worse. Okay, clase, let's go ahead and start today. I hope everyone's doing well. Behind me, our unit, you guys, has been about Peru, right? And so I thought today, being it's Wednesday, I thought we would just, I don't know, do something a little different and, take a break. Buenos dias, Jamarian. And so our question up here says, ¿Qué pasa en Lima hoy? ¿Qué pasa en Lima hoy? Any ideas what this question's asking? Or do we know what Lima is? You guys can unmute. Like I said, we're a small group. Feel free to unmute. ¿Qué pasa en Lima hoy? What do you think it's asking? What is hoy? You guys hear me use that word a lot when I'm talking about the date. What is hoy? H-O-Y. Remember? Ideas, anybody? Today, very good. Today. Okay. So, the question, buenos dias, Marlesia. The question is, what's going on? ¿Qué pasa? What's going on? Okay. And we can say that to one another, right? Like, instead of just saying ¿Cómo estás? Or hola or ¿Qué tal? Or something like that, or buenos dias. A lot of folks just say, hey, ¿Qué pasa? Like, what's going on? Okay. So what's going on in Lima today? Anybody have an idea of Lima? What is Lima? It's capitalized, so it's a name of something. What's your guess? Jamarian, you got an idea? Marlasia, what is Lima? Very good, Malia. It's a city. It's actually the capital city in Peru. Okay. And behind me, you guys, this picture here, right? It's got, you can see sort of the more modern part of the city in Lima, right? And then over here, you can kind of see the traditional, like, old town, downtown, like the old part of the city, okay, established by the Spanish, right? And so, in these places where, they're much older than the United States, right? It's not uncommon to have like a new part of town and an old part of town, like a city center that's old and a city center that's new. And the new part of town is usually like where most of the businesses are going to be. And then in the old part of town, it's generally touristy, or maybe like a courthouse, or like the president's residence, or something like a White House, or something like that, right? So I put the modern picture up here because I think that a lot of times when we envision other parts of the world, we envision them as old and crusty and I don't know, whatever, right? But there are poor maybe, but they do have a modern skyscrapers and things like that, right? We need to kind of remember that. So what I would like us to do today, I'm going to switch my screens, is something a little different. So I need your full attention, and I need to make sure that you guys can see my screen. So give me a thumbs up if y'all can see my background. Okay, perfect. Okay, so behind me, wherever my background just popped over to, behind me, you guys, you can see a map of South America. You can see where Peru is located. And then, of course, the little dot here is where Lima is. So it's, near the Pacific Ocean, which makes sense for, in the old days when they traveled by boat, and that's how they got their provisions and things like that, right? Makes perfect sense. Because remember, all the way down the length of South America are the Andes Mountains that are kind of a divider, right? So you either are on the water side, on the side by the Pacific, or you're in the mountains, or you're on the other side, right? There's like that division, okay? So Lima happens to be not far from the Pacific Ocean. So what we're going to do today, okay? What's happening today? We're going to do this in English, so no problems. What I would like for everybody to do is search for a current event in Peru. And before we start that, we're going to kind of brainstorm what are some good searching words that we can use to find what we need. And then you're going to kind of click around and find an article about Peru, a current event, what's happening today, maybe the newspaper, what happened yesterday, what happened overnight, whatever. Find an article that interests you, check it out, kind of give it a quick read, find a main idea or something like that. And then you're going to, once you have it decided on, you're going to keep it up on your screen, copy and paste the link for me and put it in the chat. And then I'm going to open it up and we're going to share what is happening. ¿Qué pasa hoy? Okay, in Lima. All right. Questions about what we're doing? Okay, so it shouldn't take us all class period. I would like to give you guys some time, to work on assignments if you have some things that you need done. I did post a little practice on direct object pronouns because we will quiz on those next week. Okay, so but I'll show you that before we sign off today. Okay, all right, any questions about what we're doing? Yes. So good question, Mia. So we are going to brainstorm those, right? So if you guys would unmute, it would make it faster, but however you feel comfortable. What are some words that we can type into our search? I'm just going to say Google because that's what I have. I don't know what you all use. What are some words that would help us figure out what's happening today in Peru or what's happening today in Lima? Can you pop them in the chat or unmute? What are some good search words we might use to help us figure out what we need? Joe? Malaysia? Brooklyn? What do you think? What are some good search words? Just pop your ideas in the chat, or you can unmute, you guys. How are we going to find current events in Peru? Any ideas? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Okay. So the easiest thing to do, you guys, take a look at my screen. Okay. The easiest thing to do is what's happening in Lima today, right? You can just say what's happening in Lima today. Oops, gotta make sure you spell it right. In 2025, maybe we need to be specific. Okay. We also could put in current events in Lima 2025, right? Maybe add Peru. Okay. And that actually gives us videos. Okay. You want news. So you can, if you're doing Google, you can just click on news up here. Right. And there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of stuff. See what's going on. Okay. Crime waves and blah, blah, blah. So find something that interests you. The instructions are behind me. Make sure that you can summarize the events in a sentence or two. And then make sure that you share the link with me in the chat. Take your time, no rush. What I would like for you to do, Malia, is post the link for me in the chat. Okay, and then we're all going to need to unmute and share what we've learned. Okay, just in a sentence or two. But I need your link. Okay, so keep your link handy, Mia, and then be ready with the sentence or two to tell us what's going on there, okay? Okay, once again, you guys, when you found an article and you want to tell us about it, you need to just put the link in the chat. Thank you, Marlasia. And Marion, if you found one, make sure you put the link in the chat, please. I don't know where my kitty kit went. Hey, Brooklyn, did you find one? Like I said, just pop it in the chat. Make sure it's something going on now, like today, this week, something like that. So Brooklyn, if you click up along the top of that, there should be like a navigation thing that says news, like all news and then whatever. Yeah, there you go. Okay, just in the interest of time, Brooklyn and Jojo, go ahead and choose one, pop the link in the chat. Okay, Jamarian, good job. Okay, Brooklyn. Okay, Joe, so be ready to explain to us what you read in a sentence or two. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back up to, I'm going to open up Malia's link. Okay, you guys? And then I'm going to share it with, and don't say anything, right? We're all just going to listen and listen to what's being said. Because she's going to give us the lowdown here. Okay. All right. So this was the link you gave us, right, Mia? Okay. So go ahead and unmute because there's several stories here. So I'm not sure which story you were referring to. And you can tell us what you read.
Scroll down to the second one.
Here?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So for that one, I put Peruvians have come to protest for the second day against their president, Dina Boluarte, and the Congress. The protest unfortunately broke out as police tear gas and demonstrators threw objects at security forces.
Okay, so we have some unrest, right, you guys? That young folks are demonstrating against the president, the government of the president anyway. And this says a second day, right, of protests. Okay. All right, I'm gonna close that one. And thank you, Mia. And we're gonna do Malaysia. Malaysia, you ready? Okay, let me pull up your thing. And I'll share it. And then you tell me which link we're using. Okay. So is it this story here?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so from what I read, there was basically like a big number of like drug trades and criminal groups in Peru. So
Okay.
and people like the locals were scared. So the military released like around 1,000 troops to like patrol in the area, and yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So yeah, it says the government declared a state of emergency, right? And says that the government too was trying to get the interior minister, who's generally in charge of these kinds of things, to remove them from office. Okay. And so they've got some crime going on. Okay. All right, good job. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. And troops on the street. Right. Okay, Jojo, you're next. You ready? I'm gonna pull this up and you tell me which story we're talking about here, because there's more than one. Okay. Go ahead, Joe. Unmute. Tell me where I need to be. Is this it here? Okay, but is this the one you were looking at? Okay. So young demonstrators marching in Peru. So it's the video, right, of the same story that Mia shared with us. Okay, so you get a little feel for what it's looking like. Okay, so there's obviously some unrest. You've got troops on the street for demonstrators. You've got troops on the street for crime. Okay. All right. And the last one is Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, I'm gonna share. And you tell me where I need to be here. Is this the right story? Yes, is this the right story? Yeah, okay. So go ahead and unmute and then tell us what's going on here. What'd you find out? Can you unmute? You know how to unmute. You've done it before. Okay, go ahead. Can you unmute, Brooklyn? Are you having an issue? It's okay. That's fine. Just, I only need like a sentence. All right, so we can see that here is a guy named Alejandro Toledo, that's his name. And he is one of 5 former presidents that have been jailed in the last several years, okay, for what seems to be corruption, right? So they're doing illegal things while they are in office, okay? And they actually, you know, it says like this one that we see here, this Alejandro Toledo was sentenced to 13 years and 4 months in prison for money laundering, okay? And he is one of 5 ex-presidents imprisoned in recent years in Peru, okay? So I have a couple of questions for you, okay? Hi, Arshad. And please feel free to unmute or put your thoughts in the chat. There is no right or wrong answer, you guys. We are just having a conversation, okay? So first of all, what is your impression about, after looking at these stories, what is the impression about like the political status in Peru? What do y'all think? Again, you can pop it
I
in.
think it's like unstable, like a lot going on with it.
Okay, unstable, right? So we see corruption of presidents, we see student demonstrating, we see crime wave and troops on the streets, right? Okay, and the other thing that I want to ask you guys about real quick is there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of you, okay, because Arshad had to step out. There were 4 of you. And of the 4 of you, 3 of you ended up in the Associated Press. In other words, the article that you guys chose after you did your search, took the one you chose was something out of the Associated Press. Okay, that's the name of like the news organization, right? The Associated Press. Brooklyn's was from another source called Al Jazeera. Okay. So is there a conclusion that we can draw that 3 of the 4 of us ended up in Associated Press? I don't know, we probably all used the similar search words or the same search words. If we were looking for different point of views, would we have found them? That's my question to you. What do you think, you guys? 3 of the 4 of you all ended up in Associated Press. And I saw Brooklyn, when she was searching as well, she ended up in Associated Press at some point, right? And then she just kept moving, right? But what does that tell us about, you know, if we were trying to find researching, like if we were trying to find a different point of view, how easy would it have been? Do you think it would have been easy or no? Or why do you think we all ended up at the Associated Press? Any ideas? I mean, what does that tell us about the internet? Like searching on the internet, what does that tell us? What conclusions can we make? Okay, so most of the links were about from the Associated Press. Is that what you're saying, Brooklyn? Most of them? Yeah, okay. Yes, that's my point, you guys. All four of us, we typed in some search words, and we all ended up in the same place. So if we're trying to get a broader picture, or if we were trying to research something, okay, we're going to have to step it up, right? We're going to have to continue searching. We're going to have to change search words. We're going to have to try to find different sources, right? We're going to have to kind of go down a rabbit hole, okay, or a maze, however you want to envision it, in order to find a different point of view, not just about Peru, right, but about everything. Okay, it says that we're all sort of being what's the word I need? Exposed to the same stories. Yeah, we're all being exposed to the same ideas. We're all being exposed to the same perspective, right? So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Is it a good thing that we're all being exposed to the same news, the same perspective, the same whatever? You think it's good or bad? It's bad, absolutely, because we need to know the full story. We need to know all sides of the story if we're going to draw a conclusion, right? If we're going to function and understand what goes on around us, whether it's Peru or whether it's about anything. Isn't that right, you guys? So I used to do, when I used to teach world history, because I'm also a social studies teacher. When I taught world history, I used to give the kids an exercise to do when we were studying about the Renaissance, and I would give them like some artists' names and stuff like that. And you know what would happen, you guys? I mean, I had 100+ students, okay? And of those, let's just say 100 of them, 95 of them would all end up giving me the exact same information about the exact same piece of art. If I gave them an artist's name from the Renaissance, 95% of them would give me the same piece of art. Why is that? Because once again, the internet feeds you a very narrow thing. And if we need to know more, we have to know how to expand that window. It's not, the internet isn't going to do it for us, right? We have to force the internet to do it. Okay. And so we need to be aware, right? When we're looking for information, that we're not just parroting what is that one particular point of view. Okay. It's not going to give us multiple point of views. We have to look for those. Okay. So, and I remember my students being, oh my gosh, how come we all picked the same one? Because that's what the internet was leading you to do. I mean, that's the bottom line. Okay. So similar situation here. Okay. So we need to be aware, like I said, if we're going to learn, if we're really going to learn, that we need to push the internet. Okay. All right. Last thing that I want us to do. I don't think any of us are going to go to Peru anytime soon, even though it's a beautiful country, right? Unless they get their stuff together. It's probably not very tourist friendly. What I would like us to do in the time that we have left is meet me in Canvas, please. Okay, meet me in Canvas. Arshad, you weren't here earlier, so I need to kind of just kind of get you up to speed here. So in the time that we have left, feel free to work on any assignments to get caught up. We're almost finished with Unit 4, with Unidad 4. So we also have the end of the quarter coming up, right? Next Monday, you guys have exams happening. we will be taking a quiz on these direct object pronouns on Monday. So tomorrow we'll review that information. So I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. In Canvas, you want to go down to the heading where it says direct object pronouns, Unit 4. And here is the information, right? If you need to look at it again. Here is the practice sheet. If you haven't turned it in, it was due yesterday. And then we had 2 of these VHL assignments. Okay, so we're in this direct object pronouns. So let me know. Here's the slides, right? If you click on presentation, remember reading those presentation give you 1 point in VHL. So they will add up. Okay, so you can look at that, click your start, get a free point. Okay, it'll take you to the page, it'll take you to the explanation if you need that explanation again. Okay. All right, so any questions about what we're doing? So try to finish up any missing assignments, especially those VHL on the direct object pronouns, because Monday we're going to have our quiz on those. Oh, also just a reminder that some of you still have not turned in your storyboard on querer and preferir. I am going to put those grades in on the 3rd, which would be the last day to turn in work for this quarter. So you want to go ahead and make sure you get that done. I don't care if you use a storyboard, you could use a slide, you could use a document. I don't really care, but you need to have an image with people talking to each other using querer and preferir. Also, you guys, if there is an assignment in the VHL that you want to try again, like, you just let me know and I can reset it, right? If you don't like your score. Joe, so just click on the book. Jojo, just click on the book. All right, you guys, that's our time for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Remember, you can always reach out to me, send me an inbox message. Okay. All right. Nos vemos mañana. Good job today. See you tomorrow. Adios. See, nos vemos mañana. Adios.